So this is a little replica treehouse that I carved, like a prototype, out of a piece of wood I found on the beach. I don't know what type of wood it is. It's not finished, that's why I haven't signed it, but it's got a hole up there to put a light in the door window. So, like I said, it's a prototype. Now, there's my first prototype. Now, here's my second prototype. Now, this is a piece of Western red cedar. It's not the best cedar. I call it head cedar. It's just a piece I found on the beach, and I've had it in my tent for a long time. Where I chainsaw carving tent. I'm carving a huge one of these, and I want to make sure I get it right before I finish off carving the huge one. So you see this one here, the roof's like that. The other one, my big chainsaw one, has another peak on the back. But why I'm making this video here is it's not a carving video. I still can't carve yet. I'm still healing from the COVID garbage. But this piece has a big crack on the back of it. Okay? You know, when you got this piece here is going to have a base, just like this one. It's going to have lights around it with crystals and little gnomes and stuff like that. I got a little gnome right here I have to carve when I'm better. But my point of this video is, like, this is the backside of the piece. I'm not really worried about it because it's going to be on the base. You can see I already got the branches coming up here for a door, right? So you're not really going to see the back. But I thought I'd make an example for all the beginning wood carvers out there, because when you got like, luckily this one didn't crack. It's just a full round and it didn't crack at all. This one has the big crack. So lots of wood carvers are wondering what they do to fix the cracks in their wood. You know, I'm pretty sure that this is done cracking, which means it's fully dry. It's a full round. I'll show you the bottom. So there's the center of the tree. So you can see that it, boom, cracked right out there. I don't think any more cracks are going to come here. I think it's pretty well dry now and it's done cracking. But this crack could open up some more after I'm done making this video and done carving this. But I thought I'd show you an example. Sometimes you can hide the crack in the carving itself, just like carve it deep in there and do stuff, but I can't hide this crack. This crack is a friggin' crack. Now, there's different ways to fill your cracks. You can do the wood shims, right? I don't have the wood shims here. I want to do this quick. I'm not too worried about if you can see a little bit of the crack on the back. Like, if you can tell if it's a crack when I'm done, doesn't matter. It's the back of the piece and not too many people are going to be looking at it. But so what I'm going to do here today with this crack is I got this Apoxie Sculpt, all right? It comes in two parts. It comes in an A and a B. So you got your A here and you got your B here. I will leave a link to this Apoxie Sculpt in the description below. Now, this might not be the cheapest way to fill the crack. And as far as I know, and I've talked to Larry Dibbs about it because he uses this stuff sometimes, that this stuff does not shrink when it's dry, when it's dried. All right, it stays the shape. It stays when it's still wet. So there's other ways to do it. You can, like I said, do the wood shims. You could use the wood glue and the sawdust and put that in there. But I don't have the wood glue. I don't have the sawdust here. This is what I got here. I'll leave a description below where to get this on Amazon. These are the bigger jugs. You can also get the smaller jugs. Now, why I want to use this Apoxie Sculpt, because it's only got a certain amount of shelf life, and you can see here it's starting to, well, it's just time to use it up and move on to the next. So hopefully I got enough of this stuff to fill this crack. And yeah, I don't know what else to say, but mix it up, and you gotta. It's so it's 1-to-1. You make a ball of this, you make a ball of that, you mix it all together till it's all mixed up, and then you put it in the friggin' crack. So I don't know what else I can say, but mix it good. You can also use scales. Put some of this on a scale, weigh it out, then weigh this out, so it's 100% perfect. But I'm just not that perfect guy. All right, so you can see here, part A and a part B. Some people might be like, oh, you're wasting it. You got so much stuff there and there's cheaper ways to do it. Well, like I said, this Apoxie Sculpt has kind of come to the end of its shelf life, and I want to use it for this project, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to sit here for a good 10 minutes and blend all this stuff together. so it looks like a solid color. So you want to make it so you don't see like white streaks in this darker gray stuff. And you can also get this epoxy sculpts in different colors too, or you can also get it so it's epoxy clay. But I'll get this all mixed together. We'll get it put in the cracks, and this is a big, huge glump of it. Yep. You know, I also want to say for you very beginner epoxy sculptors out there, you can, when this is mixed up and it's blended in together, you can put paint in here. But from my experience with the acrylic paint, you need a lot of paint to put in here to make it, say if you wanted to make it blue, you need a lot of paint to put in here to make this thing solid blue. And it does cure, but anyways, I think it's probably just better to paint it after. Or if you're doing a little clump like this or something, you know, you could put some paint in there, but from my experience, you just need a lot of paint to make it go the color that you want it to go. Okay, you can see here I got it pretty well mixed in, so you can't really see any different colors in it. It's pretty simple. It's not rocket science. I'm just gonna kind of put this in a ball and put it in the cracks and shove it in there. That's all funny. So you can see here I got some of the crack filled in. This whole piece is going to be painted, so I'm not worried about the different color of the epoxy sculpt. But I do suggest if you're going to not paint your piece, well, there's a huge color difference here, and how are you going to hide that? So I suggest just kind of use it for painted pieces. Or try and mix up the paint and the epoxy sculpt to try and make it match the wood color. So I'll get this all done. They say that you got an hour to 3 hour working time. And you should mix it up in 2 minutes. Anyways. All right, so you guys can see I got to put all the way in down the crack. I pushed it in there as far as I could go. I did get a little bucket of water here. You can blend this, say if you're getting like a crack right there and you can see a seam, you can get your fingers wet. You can use water and blend it together so you don't see any cracks, but I'm not too worried about that because I'm going to be carving this. Epoxy Sculpt carves super easy with the cut saw burrs or any type of burrs that you got. It's super carvable. Here, what I did is with the extra bit, I got a mushroom that I made. And so you can see there, for example, right here, off camera, I'm going to get my finger wet and bleed that crack in together. I suggest don't use your spit because this stuff tastes, this epoxy sculpt doesn't taste very good. So let's just let this dry and finish this video off. Okay, with this epoxy sculpt, so here's the mushroom cap. You know, it's good to have sculpting tools around. You can see here I had some of this paintbrush end here. I used some of that just to kind of sculpt and shaped it. You do have about when this stuff when you first blend it together, it's super soft and it doesn't hold its shape very well. So just when you're doing something like this, keep an eye on it, because about half an hour, 45 minutes into it, you can shape it, but the more it dries, the more that you want to shape it like this, the more that it will crack. So try and be fast when you use this stuff, but you don't have to be too fast. It's just about having fun shaping things like this. So this is just like a basic shape of a mushroom, but like later I can carve the bottom thins in there. I can sand the top, make it smoother. You see? Maybe this mushroom will be the base of this house when I'm all done it. All right, so it's now the next day. The epoxy sculpt's pretty hard. Let's see if we can get it off this paint thing here, this mushroom cap. Come on, get off there. Anyways, stand by. Okay, well, I had to unscrew the cap. What I normally do with this, when I make these mushroom caps with the epoxy sculpt, I'll make a ball with like, what's that paper that doesn't burn in the oven? With that wax paper. I'll make a ball and put it on top of the bottle. Then you can just pull the bottle off and then you pull the wax paper out. But so here's the mushroom cap. I will make a video using this one day. I'll carve the little fins in the bottom. We'll paint it and get her all done. So, and we'll fill those little holes up too. So what I'm going to do quickly here is I got my, this is the 1/4 inch ram carver. It spins at like 50,000 RPMs, but this video is not about that. I'm just going to kind of grind some of this away, and we'll see if we see a crack in the wood and stuff like that too. One thing I didn't say in this video is that when this crack was opened up, I think this wood's dry. It might not be. Just because you think it's dry doesn't mean it's dry. But when it was opened up, I got lots of the CA glue. I poured it like super glue. I poured it inside the crack and let it sit and dried for a couple days. You can see it right up here. So hopefully that will avoid it for wanting to split anymore. But this will be a future video when I carve this anyways. And we'll see if that crack opens up anymore. But let me quickly carve it with this and do some sanding, and we'll see if we see any lines from the cracks. So just to show you guys too, this epoxy sculpt is super easy to carve. So here you go. You can see a little crack there because when I shoved it in there, it didn't whatever joined properly. Not a big deal. You can fill things like that with super glue or whatever, normal wood glue. But I think it worked pretty good. You can see it's nice and smooth across there. You know, when you say like all this whole piece is going to be carved, right, and it's going to be all painted, this epoxy sculpt will still be, even if you carve it, it will still be a different kind of texture than the wood. So the best you can do, it's the back of the piece. Not a big deal. I just tried to show you guys, you know, if you struggle, if you got the smaller pieces like this and they're cracked, you could use the epoxy sculpt. You can do whatever you want, but I just tried to give you guys an idea. And I'll leave a link to the epoxy sculpt in the description below. Hope this is able to help somebody. I'm still trying my best to rest from the COVID stuff. I won't be carving much anytime soon, but I hope this video can help you. Carving Fusion, over and out.